quadratic equations by the quadratic formula. Alright? First off, I hope you all have your formula charts out because you will need them. Soon you will be able to say this in your sleep as you use it, quite frankly. Okay? Are you here? Fourth year of class, huh? Yeah. Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. So, on your algebra chart, quadratic equations on the bottom, and you have the quadratic formula, and it says x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. Oh, doesn't it look like fun? Oh, yes, it does. Okay? And yes, it is. It is fun. It is fun. It is fun. Okay? So, we are going to one algebraic method that can be used to solve any, okay? Any. Do you see that? Any word? Because we've learned a couple of different ways, but doing it by factoring it doesn't always work. Doing it by the square root, doing it by squaring. Those things are meant for specific situations, and so if you know all your different tools in the toolbox, then you have different ways that you can do it. I have found most students revert back to doing it by the formula, because once they learn the formula, they just find, although it's painful at times, it's not so bad. So, one algebraic method that can be used to solve any quadratic equation is the quadratic formula. Transform the equation to the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. What form of an equation is that? Somebody please tell me. You know in your toolbox. Well, it's not really a guess. It would be if c was on the other side, wouldn't it? Okay? So I guess that's a bad question. Identify the values of a, b, and c. Plug values of a, b, and c into the quadratic formula. Okay, there are several things that we can get from this formula. If you have a square root of a negative number, can you ever find the square root of a negative number? No. So that means no solution. Okay? If you end up with only one solution, can't spell solution, that is called a double root. Okay? Most of the time, not all, but most of the time, when you solve a quadratic equation, you will see the answer left in set notation. So x equals, I don't know, p and q. And that set notation you will always order in least to greatest. So in other words, P comes before Q in the alphabet, so I wrote P first. So solutions are listed in set notation in least to greatest order. Okay. Looks like I've been all over the place when I've done notes. I've done them all, and then I've done some, and then I haven't done some, and looks like I have just had a ball here. All right, we're not going to go into that. All right, so let's start solving because it's just so much fun. It really is. Okay, so we're going to start out with examples. So we've got example number 1. So I'm going to get my handy dandy piece of paper and I'm going to do number 1. X squared plus 5x is equal to 6. And I'm going to rewrite the equation. And this is just my setup. Doesn't have to be your setup. Always over here I write A equals B equals C equals. It just keeps me nice and organized. So then I said that the form has to be in ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So I've got to get whatever equation they give me into that form first. Okay? So if I do that, I'm just going to subtract 6 on both sides. And I end up with x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. All right, so what is the value of a? No. Did we say a was a variable ever? No, nay. A variable, you don't know what the variable is. X is a variable. X squared is a variable. It's x being squared, whatever x is. So what's in front of that variable? 1. So a is 1, b is 5, and c is negative 6. Okay? So now I'm going to write down my formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, and everything is divided by 2 times a. Okay? So now I'm just going to plug. I've got x is equal to, my b value is 5. Now, if you build this habit now, you won't have any problems in the future. If you don't, then you will, okay? You have a negative 5, don't you? So, if I have negative 5, what do I want to do with that negative 5? I want to put it in parentheses. And I'm telling you, this is the single most thing that gets students when they're doing this process, okay? Because what happens is when they get to plus or minus the square root of negative 5, if that negative sign isn't inside there, when you go to square negative 5 in your calculator without those parentheses around it, you get a negative number, don't you? Okay? And it'll mess you up every time. So negative 5 squared minus 4 times whatever the value of a is, which is 1, times whatever the value of that c is, which is negative 6, and everything is being divided by a times 1. Okay? All right, so now we need to start cleaning things up. I've got x is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared in your calculator in parentheses is what? What? Positive 25. Okay. Minus, well, I'm going to figure out if it's really a minus. I'm going to go ahead and put in my calculator negative 4 times 1 times negative 6, and I end up with a what? So I'm just going to write plus 24. I'm going to drop that sign. All over, ooh, what did I forget to do? Oh my goodness. X is equal to negative 5. Okay. All right, all over 2 times 1, which is what? 2. Okay. So now I have x is equal to negative 5, and I'm not going to multiply it, right? So I'm just going to leave it without the parentheses, plus or minus. Now, I've got 25 plus 24, which is the square root of 49, and everything is divided by 2. Okay? Everybody good so far? No problems, right? X is equal to negative 5 plus or minus. What is the square root of 49, people? Thank you. 7 all divided by 2. Ah, this is where I split things. Ooh, x is equal to, okay? So I have x is equal to negative 5 plus 7 over 2, or x is equal to negative 5 minus 7 over 2. Okay? Now, I would highly suggest that you always think of these as your parentheses. Okay? And if you try and put negative 5 plus 7 divided by 2 in your calculator without those parentheses, guess what you're going to get? It's going to take 7 divided by 2 and then add it to negative 5. You're going to get the wrong answer. Okay? So you almost have to do these in a step. So x is equal to negative 5 and 7 is 2 over 2, right? Which is 1. Or x is equal to negative 5 and negative 7, which is negative 12 over 2, which is negative 6. So how would I write my answer? I would come over here and I would say, okay, well, x is equal to, what's the smallest number? Negative 6, 1. Now, this means that x is either equal to negative 6 and x could be equal to 1. It does not mean that that is an x and y value. That is set notation. Set notation is when you have the nose. I look at the nose on the side. That's different than parentheses, okay? All right, so that is not an x and y value. And of course, you could go in and you could check, because I could go here and I could say, okay, that's my original. So if I went and put parentheses, negative 6, parentheses squared, plus 5 times, parentheses, negative 6. What do I get? I get 6. Well, 6 is equal to 6, isn't it?
I think so.
Okay, so that one works, doesn't it? So then I could come over here and say 1 squared plus 5 times 1 is 6. Well, 6 is equal to 6, isn't it? I would get a true statement, therefore it is correct. So you can always go back and put your information in. I'm going to say this. Do not use decimals, okay? You will get into trouble every time because decimals are not always pretty to work with, all right? So if you have something that gives you something crazy, just keep it in that fraction, all right? So let's do number 2. Number 2 is x squared minus 12x is equal to negative 36. I've got a equals b equals c equals, and when you're first working, I would go ahead and put that up here. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, so that you remember I've got to get it in that form, okay? If I was doing this, I may even get to the point that I put at the top of my page. X equals negative b. I probably would do this just so I remember. Plus or minus the square root of negative b squared. Do you see how I'm putting it in parentheses here so I don't forget? Minus 4ac all over 2a. Then, do I need to write it every single time? Probably not. If I've got it right there where I'm working, then I'm not going to, hopefully not going to make a mistake. So bring my 36 over. I end up with x squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. Okay. Oh, I know I have this. Make sure I don't make any mistakes because you know me these days. All right, so I would go ahead and put your 1 here. Remind yourself, oh, A is 1, B is negative 12, C is 36. So now I need to substitute it. X is equal to, this is one of those other times I'm telling you, don't try and scritch things in the corner of the page because you have that much left and you're trying to work it and it's the corner of the page, okay? You don't want to do that. That's when we make mistakes, both of you. Quit looking at each other because it's both of you. All right? Okay? Never mind. Because they think they're going to get it all and they scribble and they scratch their chicken scratch down here and then they can't really see what they're doing, and they make idiot mistakes. Okay? I know, but you scribble. When you get down to the bottom, if you're almost done, you're scribbling. You want me to go pick out papers and show you? Okay. All right. Okay. I know, we don't. X is equal to. All right. Do you see that this has a negative sign out in front of it, doesn't it? Okay. But we've got a B that has a what? Oh, so now we're going to have this and this, aren't we? So maybe rather than put this in, let's not put that one in parentheses. Put the one inside in parentheses because you square it. Okay? So that you'll remember, just because you have negative B out here doesn't take for account that negative sign there. Okay? So now you have a double negative, don't you? Okay? Well, yeah, but we're going to write it out the long way first time. Because when you try and skip too many steps, what do, Mr. Denby? We mess up, don't we? When we think we know it. Square root of negative 12 squared minus 4 times what? Not there. Oh, gosh, I shouldn't have put the negative up here. What did you guys let me do?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
You're teaching us.
Oh, am I? Oh, man. I didn't know that was I didn't know I was here for that. I thought I was just here to play. Okay, I'm so sorry. Get rid of that sucker, okay? I wasn't looking at my formula. I'm the first idiot, and I will admit it. Okay? I'm blonde. Blonde moment. Okay? All right. Oh, let me get this out there. Okay, what's A? 1 and B. C is 36, and this is all over 2 times 1. It's always a nice one. 2 times 1. It just makes it easy. Okay, so now we've got X is equal to negative, makes a positive. I'm going to clean up what I can. Plus or minus the square root of negative 12 squared. Please, somebody tell me they know what 12 squared is.
144.
And it's going to change it to a positive. Okay, and then we've got here negative 4 times 1 times 36. Just put it all in at the same time. They're always not going to be a 1, but it is for now. What do you get? Minus what? Negative 144? You sure do. Remember to take this sign when you are multiplying, okay? That negative sign there, right? So then that's all over 2 times 1, which is 2. I guess I could have just written 2 at this point. Okay? All right, so now we've got X is equal to 12 plus or minus the square root of 144 minus 144 is 0 all over 2. So now I have X is equal to 12. Oh my goodness. Plus, what's the square root of 0? I'm so glad you know that, but you could put it in your calculator and you would get 0 all over 2, or X is equal to 12 minus 0 over 2. And now I've got X is equal to, that's 12 divided by 2 is 6. Or here, 12 minus 0 is still 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So what did we call this? A double root. We've got a double root answer, don't we? So the only thing X could be to make this statement true would be 6. So I've got X is equal to 6, and that's called a double root. Yeehaw! Okay. Oh, I know, isn't it fun? All right, let's go do number 4. Just for the thrill of it. Number 4. Just for the thrill of it. I don't think we need to we won't worry about number 3. It's pretty reasonable, I think. I think we're going to do number 4. Okay? Okay, so I gotta grab another piece of paper because I use way too much paper when I'm doing all this stuff. Okay, so number 4, we've got 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. A equals B equals C equals, I'm trying to get it in ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Let's see if I can write the formula out correctly. You guys can check me. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, and I'm going to put that one in parentheses, take away 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Did I get it right? What did I mess up? No, I didn't mess anything up that time. I'm okay. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to have to bring my 0 over. Oh, okay. Well, it's already there, isn't it? It's already set up. I'm just missing a middle term, aren't I? Oh, so A is equal to what? What is A equal to?
A is 4.
4, because that's with my x squared. What's B equal to? Okay, good. Because some of you would have been, I don't know what to do. That's why we're doing number 4.
That makes number 3 easier now.
C is negative 9. Okay? So here we go. X is equal to negative B. Oh, well, that would be a negative 0, wouldn't it? Okay? Plus or minus the square root of 0 squared. Woo, that's going to be rough. Minus 4 times negative 9. Okay? All over 2 times 4. Okay? X is equal to, well, I can drop my 0, don't you think? Plus or minus the square root. Well, 0 squared is what? Lord, have mercy. No, something to the power of 0 is 1. Okay? All right? 0 squared is 0. So, I mean, can I drop it? Or should I write it just for y'all? Drop it. All right, so then I'm going to put negative 4 times 4, negative 4 times 4 times negative 9, and I get what? Positive 144 all over 2 times 4, which is 8. So x is equal to plus or minus the square, oh, no, I've got to do the square root of 144, which is what? 12 over 8, right? So either x is equal to plus 12 over 8 or x is equal to minus 12 over 8. I want it simplified, but I do not want it left as a decimal. So what's 12 over 8? 3 over 2. So x is equal to 3 over 2 positive, or x is equal to negative 3 over 2. And the only reason and you know what? You guys recognize that 3 over 2 is 1.5, right? I just want you, I told you this year you were going to love fractions, okay? They're going to be your friends, all right? So I've got 3 over 2 positive, so what do I do over here? X is equal to negative 3 over 2 and positive 3 over 2, and I'm done. Is it a double root? Are they the same? No. Because if I put parentheses there, then I'm indicating it's an x and y value. Is that an x and y value? No. It's a set. A set is different than x and y value. Okay? I don't think we're going to do anymore. I think that's all I'm doing for you. Okay? You'll be okay. I promise. Maybe. I'll see if I can spice it up for you. I love my MacBook, by the way.
You do?